Good afternoon, sober family, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Wayne, and I'm an alcoholic. If you're not sober, welcome to the channel. Hopefully you get something from this that helps you get some strength and courage in order to take the steps necessary to change your life. If you haven't taken the time to subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss a thing and you see all the daily reflections and a little bit of something to chew on while you're here. Today's daily reflection for 26 December 2020, accepting success or failure. Let's go. Forgiving yourselves has got to be one of the hardest things that a person can ever do. Especially if you're an alcoholic like me and you did a bunch of bull crap in your past and you have a bunch of wreckage that you still have to clean up. And perhaps you just went through Christmas and you did some stupid crap while you were drunk or using and you don't know if you can take it back, especially if you just got bailed out from jail. How do you forgive yourself for the days missed with your family, for the time missed with your son or daughter, for the time missed with your wife or husband, for the things that you've done to the people around you and in your lives? How do you forgive yourself? Let's talk about it. Let's go. Okay, let's get it going. Furthermore, how shall we come to terms with seeming failure or success? Can we now accept and adjust to either without despair or pride? Can we accept poverty, sickness, loneliness, and bereavement with courage and serenity? Can we steadfastly content ourselves with the humbler yet sometimes more durable satisfactions when the brighter, more glittering achievements are denied us? 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 112. After I found Alcoholics Anonymous and stopped drinking, it took a while before I understood why the first step contained two parts: my powerlessness over alcohol and my life's unmanageability. In the same way, I believed for a long time that in order to be in tune with the 12 steps, it was enough for me to carry this message to alcoholics. That was rushing things. I was forgetting that there were a total of 12 steps, and that the 12th step also had more than one part. Eventually, I learned that it is necessary for me to practice these principles in all areas of my life. In working all the steps thoroughly, I not only stay sober and help someone else to achieve sobriety, but I also transform my difficulty with living into a joy of living. That is some powerful December 26th daily reflection, people. Let's dive into that just a little. So there's a total of 12 steps, right? It's real easy for the alcoholic or the addict to stop drinking or using. And in the intro of the intro, I talked about forgiving ourselves. You know, one of the hardest things for me ever in my alcoholism, and still in some cases, is to forgive myself for the things that had happened in the past that I caused, and the turmoil that I caused, and the damage that I did to the lives of the people around me. But isn't that rushing things, Wayne? Is that what you're asking yourself right now? Because I am an alcoholic who caused all these problems. Why should I be forgiven, and why should I forgive myself? The answer is not simple, folks, and a lot of you are probably waking up saying, "What did I do last night?" That's okay, because it might not be ideal what you did last night, but guess what? It's gone. It's over. Now you have to repair something if you damaged it, and now you have to address things if you jack something up. Accepting our failures and successes is a very hard thing to do, because as an active alcoholic, if I failed, I got drunk. If I succeeded, I got drunk. And a lot of bad shit happened when I got drunk. When I practiced step 1 by admitting that I was powerlessness over the 12 ounces that I was drinking every single day, times 100 or whatever it was, and that my life was completely unmanageable. Once I was able to do that, and because some people are on their day 1 of sobriety right now, and some people are on their minute of sobriety. If you're able to admit that you're powerless over alcohol and that your life is unmanageable, or your drug, or whatever it is, then you are ready to take certain steps, folks. And I kind of quoted that a little bit, but anyway. So forgiving ourselves is inherently not able to be done. So processing that notion is probably one of the hardest things. And for me, I had to not only forgive myself, but I had to forgive the people who actually contributed to the way that I drank. And how I mean that is if you've seen any of the videos about my past or my childhood, then you understand about certain folks in my life that I wasn't really necessarily ready to forgive. But I had to. I had to do that because if I hold on to that resentment, the longer it festers, the longer it burrows into my soul, into my daily activities, is the more that it's going to affect my life. And the more that those negative things affect my life, the more that I pop the top on a bottle and I just get drunk. And I'm not going to do that anymore. So I had to forgive people. I also had to forgive myself. And that is key, because that's kind of like saying you don't love yourself. And if you don't love yourself, you don't respect yourself enough not to drink and not to use. So I had to forgive myself by admit what I did wrong. Admit the faults that I actually caused to myself, to another person, and to God. God might not be your thing, folks. I got it. Your higher power is there though, and your higher power is who you can confide in. Once I was able to do that, and once I was able to address those issues truthfully and rigorously honestly, all that, then I was able to actually examine them a little closer. And if indeed something could be fixed, well, maybe not fixed, but on the road to repair, then it is my obligation to either make amends or to just let it go, because obviously I can't do anything about it. So not to say that it's right or wrong, but it is to say that the longer I hold on to it is the longer that it burrows into my mind, and the longer that my alcoholic brain will process it and say, we know our survival mode, we're going to get drunk, fool, and that's where I'll be. So I had to forgive myself. And how do you forgive yourself for missing your son's birthday? I still haven't, and I'm working on that, because that's a character defect. Not a character defect, that's something I screwed up. And one of the turning points to me getting sober was I drank on his 10th birthday, and I drank for about 2 more years. I didn't stop, and I didn't go to his birthday, and I didn't go home, and I didn't see him, and it caused him a lot of emotional harm. So the answer to John Milborn is, how do you forgive yourself? Well, I do it through daily amends to my son, and I do it through being completely honest with him and being open about what it is that was controlling my life at the time, and that would be the alcohol, and that my life was unmanageable and that I was out of control, and I did care about him, and I do love him, and I show that through my actions. And the same goes for my wife. How should she, forgive me for the things that I've done? Should I weigh that? Because I can't make her forgive me. So should I hold on to that? I don't think so. What do you think? Drop your comments below. But do I forgive myself? Well, I do it through kind of the same fashion. I do it through my daily actions and my daily fortitude to her. And through this daily reflections for today, folks, after AA, I found that, and after I found AA and stopped drinking, it took a while before I understood why the first step contained two parts. I told you those: powerlessness over alcohol and my life's unmanageability. In the same way, I believed for a long time, in order to be in tune with the 12 steps, it was enough for me to carry this message to alcoholics. Well, that is indeed rushing things. If I think that my 1 through 12 is done simply because I talk to you guys and I spread the message as best as possible that sobriety is possible and there is a way to recover from your drug or alcoholism, that's enough, right? No, it's not. I have to practice these principles in everything I do in my daily life, and I have to be honest, and I have to be honest with myself. And I'm running at the hip a little bit. That's because I'm blending the daily reflections with forgiving ourselves, because they kind of meet together. Accepting our failures and our successes is something that we have to be able to do. It's kind of like saying, when I was a leader, if all I did was accept all the mission accomplishments that I did, and I didn't accept the failing points that were before the success, and I blamed it on somebody else, or I pushed it off to another leader, and I said, that's not my fault, I'm only responsible for the cool shit. That makes me garbage, because I'm kind of a hypocrite to my own role. I can't just say I'm awesome all the time, because that's not true. I have to be able to admit my failures, at the same be able to kind of relish in my successes a little bit, because they are successes. Just like today, I learned how to use a green screen. That's a success in my book. But if I mess this video up, I still have to be accountable for that as well. I'm running a little bit. Eventually, I learned that it was necessary for me to practice these principles in all my life. In working all the 12 steps thoroughly, I not only stay sober and help someone else to achieve sobriety, but I also transform my difficulty with living into joyful living, folks. When I was drinking, and when I was drunk, and when I was high, and when I was lost, and when I was frustrated, I didn't enjoy life. I didn't enjoy life at all. It was a constant survival, folks. And it took a moment for me to process of how to learn to live joyfully. How to be able to be happy with what I have, and how to be happy with what is in my life. Find joy in the little things. That's what I do. Like my little green screen success. I found joy in knowing that I can do stuff without having to be drunk, and without having to be high, and without having to be number one. Matter of fact, on this channel, you guys know that I'm definitely not number one. Definitely not number, I might be I'm not number two. Whatever. So, that is what this is all about today. Stop living your life in a difficult manner, because that keeps me stuck in the past, and that keeps me stressed, and that keeps me impatient, anxious, depressed at times. And if I'm depressed, folks, I'm only going to one spot, and it's not a bar. I'm going to get a bunch of racks of beer and get drunk to the point where I can't move anymore. And that's really what it gets to for me. And so instead of doing that, I'm going to celebrate small things like this blue screen behind me, the green screen success I got, the little lamps right there, you guys right here, these daily reflections, my 1 through 12, my steps 1 through 12 in Alcoholics Anonymous, because that's what I do. I have learned to forgive myself, and that is a very, very hard notion, folks. The fact that you can do that, that will bring joy to your life. That's not to say that you're not accountable. Let me say that again. That's not to say you're not accountable, because you are. You're responsible for what happened, and you're responsible for what happens. You just have to be willing to make amends, like I made amends, and you have to live amends in some cases. You have to let some stuff go, because if you don't let it go, it's going to stay on your back. And if it's on your back, it's going to weigh you down. And if it weighs you down, it's going to push you down. And everybody knows what happens when you're down. Right? Cool. I hope this video helped a little bit. I rambled and rambled and rambled. I hope it all came together and made a little bit of sense for you. I will definitely do another video on a thorough walkthrough of forgiving ourselves, as well as practicing patience, because that is one of the hardest things that I have to go through, is learning patience. And I'm still a little impatient, but it's whatever. That's maybe why I jammed all those together there. And who is that? Ryan Humstead. Oh, I must have got another workout video. I also do that. I might not look like it on this video, but this camera is supposed to add 10 pounds, but I think it takes 10 pounds. I don't know. Drop your comments below on that. Life's a garden, folks. Dig it. I hope you're having a good 26th, and I hope you don't have a whole lot of stuff to return. Last message. If you're homeless and you did not get to have Christmas, Merry Christmas. Because I've been there, folks. I've been there in the cold. I've been there in the rain. I've been there with no tent. I've been there with newspapers, and I've been on top of concrete. I'll walk with you, folks. I'll walk with you. If you need my help, hit me up. One sober to another. I'm Wayne. I'm an alcoholic, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Have a good day.